Raila Odinga's political life is often remembered through crowds, rallies, and decades of defiance, but away from the public eye, a silent medical condition rooted in the brutality of his past, which has shadowed his final years. Back in 2010, doctors diagnosed him with hydrocephalus, which is a dangerous buildup of cerebrospinal fluid around the brain. Many Kenyans at the time linked it to a minor car accident which he had suffered weeks earlier. But specialists now believe the condition traces back to the violence he endured during detention under the Nyayo regime in the 1980s. Raila was arrested in August 1982 after the failed coup against Daniel Arap Moi. Though never tried, he spent nearly 6 years in prison, shuttled between Kamiti and Shimolatewa. In his memo, The Flame of Freedom, he recounts one of the worst assaults, an officer beating him across the head and shoulders with a broken table leg until he fell unconscious. Other blows targeted his torso and groin, leaving deep internal damage. Neurologists confirm that repeated head trauma of that kind can disrupt how the brain circulates and absorbs fluid. Symptoms may surface decades later. Dr. Michael Okoth, a Nairobi neurologist, explained that head injuries can slowly interfere with pressure regulation in the brain, making hydrocephalus more likely with age. The 2010 surgery at Nairobi Hospital, performed by neurosurgeon Oluoch Olunya, eased the pressure temporarily. A small opening was made in his skull to drain the trapped fluid. The procedure gave him relief, but it didn't erase the damage of years past. Raila's suffering in detention was not limited to beatings. He survived flooded isolation cells, starvation, humiliation, and total disconnection from his family. He was even barred from attending his mother's burial. Those experiences left him with emotional and neurological wounds that medicine could only manage but not cure. When he walked out of prison back in 1988, his body carried the evidence of what he had survived. The public saw the firebrand politician. Few saw the lingering effects of torture that followed him long after the struggle of moving from prison walls to public platforms. His death has reopened difficult questions about the cost of political resistance in Kenya and the price he personally paid for it. Well, Raila suffered a fatal cardiac arrest while undergoing treatment at an eye hospital in India, where he had been admitted for 5 days. His daughter Winnie Odinga and personal physician were by his side. Raila Odinga's death marks the end of a political era defined not by titles held but by battles fought. Though he never occupied the presidency, his imprint on Kenya's democratic journey is undeniable. From his early days as a detainee under President Daniel Arap Moi's regime to his role back in 2027 post-election crisis and the historic handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018, Odinga's career was shaped by confrontation, compromise, and conviction. Back in 1945, to Kenya's first vice president, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Raila inherited a legacy of resistance. He forged his own path, one that often placed him at odds with the establishment. His speeches were fiery, his rallies electric, and his connection to ordinary Kenyans deeply personal. He spoke in idioms that resonated in market stalls and matatus, and he listened with the patience of someone who knew that change was slow but necessary. In his final months, Raila Odinga had taken a quieter role, focusing on regional diplomacy and party unity. His last major public appearance was in March 2025, when he signed a memorandum of understanding with President William Ruto, signaling a rare moment of political alignment. As news of his death spread, tributes poured in from across the continent. But in Kenya, the grief was intimate. Raila was not only a politician, he was a fixture in the national psyche. His absence leaves a void that cannot be easily filled. In other news, yesterday Migori Senator Eddie Oketch shared a deeply moving message after receiving what will be his final call from Raila Odinga. He revealed that the call lasted 7 minutes, but at the time he had no idea it was a farewell. The realization has left him heartbroken, reflecting on how ordinary moments can suddenly become the last. How often do we take our final conversations for granted, not knowing they will never happen again? In his touching post on Facebook, the senator expressed disbelief and sorrow over the loss of the man he deeply admired and respected. The message paints a picture of a personal connection that went beyond politics. Oketch described their bond as one built on mentorship, guidance, and hope for Kenya's future, values he said Raila carried with consistency and humility. He spoke of how Raila Odinga's words always carried weight, not just for him but for millions of Kenyans who saw the ODM leader as a symbol of resilience and change. That last phone call, he said, felt like any other, full of warmth and encouragement, yet it will later carry a meaning he never expected. Reading through the senator's reflection, one senses not only loss but also gratitude for the chance to have walked part of life's journey with such a towering figure. Across social media, Kenyans have joined in sharing memories and condolences, describing Raila Odinga as a man who shaped Kenya's political path with courage and conviction. Many have said that the senator's words capture what they too feel, that even those who disagreed with Raila respected his lifelong service to the nation. For Oketch, that 7-minute call will remain a moment frozen in time, a gentle reminder that sometimes goodbyes come quietly, disguised as ordinary conversation. Well, thank you so much for watching my video. Kindly share, like, and comment on this video. And tell us what you remember about Raila Odinga and what you'll miss about him the most. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Trends Girl. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more hot trending topics. Well, see you in my next video. Bye bye.